Chapter 18. The priests, the Levites, even all the tribe of Levi shall have no portion nor inheritance with Israel. They shall eat the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and his inheritance. They shall have no inheritance among their brothers. The Lord is their inheritance, as he has spoken to them. This shall be the priest's due from the people, from those who offer a sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep, that they shall give to the priest the shoulder, and the 2 cheeks, and the maw. The firstfruits of your grain, of your new wine, and of your oil, and the first of the fleece of your sheep shall you give him. For the Lord your God has chosen them out of all your tribes, to stand to minister in the name of the Lord, him and his sons forever. If a Levite comes from any of your gates out of all Israel, where he lives as a foreigner, and comes with all the desire of his soul to the place which the Lord shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of the Lord his God, as all his brothers the Levites do, who stand there before the Lord. They shall have like portions to eat, besides that which comes of the sale of his patrimony. When you are come into the land which the Lord your God gives you, you shall not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found with you anyone who makes his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, one who uses divination, one who practices sorcery, or an enchanter, or a sorcerer, or a charmer, or a consulter with a familiar spirit, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord, and because of these abominations, the Lord your God does drive them out from before you. You shall be perfect with the Lord your God. For these nations that you shall dispossess, listen to those who practice sorcery, and to diviners. But as for you, the Lord your God has not allowed you to do so. The Lord your God will raise up to you a prophet from the midst of you, of your brothers like me. To him you shall listen, according to all that you desired of the Lord your God in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, Let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I not die. The Lord said to me, They have said well that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brothers like you, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them all that I shall command him. It shall happen, that whoever will not listen to my words which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet, who shall speak a word presumptuously in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or who shall speak in the name of other gods, that same prophet shall die. If you say in your heart, How shall we know the word which the Lord has not spoken? When a prophet speaks in the name of the Lord, if the thing doesn't follow nor happen, that is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. The prophet has spoken it presumptuously. You shall not be afraid of him. Chapter 19. When the Lord your God shall cut off the nations, whose land the Lord your God gives you, and you succeed them, and dwell in their cities and in their houses, you shall set apart 3 cities for you in the midst of your land, which the Lord your God gives you to possess it. You shall prepare you the way, and divide the borders of your land which the Lord your God causes you to inherit into 3 parts, that every manslayer may flee there. This is the case of the manslayer that shall flee there and live. Whoever kills his neighbor unawares, and didn't hate him in time past, as when a man goes into the forest with his neighbor to cut wood, and his hand fetches a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slips from the handle, and lights on his neighbor so that he dies, he shall flee to one of these cities and live, lest the avenger of blood pursue the manslayer while his heart is hot, and overtake him, because the way is long, and strike him mortally, whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he didn't hate him in time past. Therefore I command you, saying, You shall set apart 3 cities for you. If the Lord your God enlarges your border, as he has sworn to your fathers, and gives you all the land which he promised to give to your fathers, if you shall keep all this commandment to do it which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to walk ever in his ways, then shall you add 3 cities more for you besides these 3, that innocent blood not be shed in the midst of your land, which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance, and so blood be on you. But if any man hates his neighbor, and lies in wait for him, and rises up against him, and strikes him mortally so that he dies, and he flees into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and bring him there, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Your eye shall not pity him, but you shall put away the innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with you. You shall not remove your neighbor's landmark, which they of old time have set, in your inheritance which you shall inherit, in the land that the Lord your God gives you to possess it. 1 witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity, or for any sin, and any sin that he sins. At the mouth of 2 witnesses, or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall a matter be established. If an unrighteous witness rises up against any man to testify against him of wrongdoing, then both the men, between whom the controversy is, shall stand before the Lord, before the priest and the judges who shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness is a false witness, and he has testified falsely against his brother, then you shall do to him as he had thought to do to his brother. So shall you put away the evil from the midst of you. Those who remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil in the midst of you. Your eyes shall not pity. Life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. Chapter 20. When you go forth to battle against your enemies, and see horses and chariots, and a people more than you, you shall not be afraid of them, for the Lord your God is with you, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt. It shall be, when you draw near to the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak to the people, and shall tell them, Hear, Israel, you draw near this day to battle against your enemies. Don't let your heart faint. Don't be afraid, nor tremble, neither be scared of them. For the Lord your God is he who goes with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. The officers shall speak to the people, saying, What man is there who has built a new house, and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. What man is there who has planted a vineyard, and has not used the fruit of it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man use the fruit of it. What man is there who has pledged to be married to a wife, and has not taken her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. The officers shall speak further to the people, and they shall say, What man is there who is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return to his house, lest his brother's heart melt as his heart. It shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking to the people, that they shall appoint captains of a host as the head of the people. When you draw near to a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace to it. It shall be, if it make peace with you, and open to you, then it shall be that all the people who are found therein shall become tributary to you, and shall serve you. If it will make no peace with you, but will make war against you, then you shall besiege it. And when the Lord your God delivers it into your hand, you shall strike every male of it with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones, and the cattle, and all that is in the city, even all the spoil of it, shall you take for a prey to yourself, and you shall eat the spoil of your enemies which the Lord your God has given you. Thus shall you do to all the cities which are very far off from you, which are not of the cities of these nations. But of the cities of these peoples, that the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance, you shall save alive nothing that breathes, but you shall utterly destroy them. The Hittite and the Amorite, the Canaanite and the Perizzite, the Hivite and the Jebusite, as the Lord your God has commanded you, that they not teach you to do after all their abominations, which they have done to their gods, so would you sin against the Lord your God. When you shall besiege a city a long time, in making war against it to take it, you shall not destroy the trees of it by wielding an axe against them, for you may eat of them, and you shall not cut them down. For is the tree of the field man, that it should be besieged of you? Only the trees of which you know that they are not trees for food, you shall destroy and cut them down, and you shall build bulwarks against the city that makes war with you, until it falls. Chapter 21. If one be found slain in the land which the Lord your God gives you to possess it, lying in the field, and it isn't known who has struck him, then your elders and your judges shall come forth, and they shall measure to the cities which are round about him who is slain. And it shall be, that the city which is nearest to the slain man, even the elders of that city shall take a heifer of the herd, which hasn't been worked with, and which has not drawn in the yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer to a valley with running water, which is neither plowed nor sown, and shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. The priest of the sons of Levi shall come near, for them the Lord your God has chosen to minister to him, and to bless in the name of the Lord. And according to their word shall every controversy and every stroke be. All the elders of that city, who are nearest to the slain man, shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley, and they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Forgive, Lord, your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, and don't allow innocent blood to remain in the midst of your people Israel. The blood shall be forgiven them. So shall you put away the innocent blood from the midst of you, when you shall do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord. When you go forth to battle against your enemies, and the Lord your God delivers them into your hands, and you carry them away captive, and you see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you have a desire to her, and would take her to you as wife, then you shall bring her home to your house, and she shall shave her head, and pare her nails, and she shall put the clothing of her captivity from off of her, and shall remain in your house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that you shall go into her, and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. It shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall let her go where she will, but you shall not sell her at all for money. You shall not deal with her as a slave, because you have humbled her. If a man has 2 wives, the one beloved, and the other hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers who was hated, then it shall be, in the day that he causes his sons to inherit that which he has, that he may not make the son of the beloved the firstborn before the son of the hated who is the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the hated, by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength, the right of the firstborn is his. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son, who will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and though they chastise him, he will not listen to them, then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out to the elders of his city, and to the gate of his place. And they shall tell the elders of his city, This is our son, who is rebellious and stubborn. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. All the men of his city shall stone him to death with stones. So shall you put away the evil from the midst of you, and all Israel shall hear and fear. If a man has committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night on the tree, but you shall surely bury him the same day. For he who is hanged is accursed of God, that you don't defile your land which the Lord your God gives you for an inheritance. Chapter 22. You shall not see your brother's ox, or his sheep go astray, and hide yourself from them. You shall surely bring them again to your brother. If your brother isn't near to you, or if you don't know him, then you shall bring it home to your house, and it shall be with you until your brother seek after it, and you shall restore it to him. So shall you do with his donkey, and so shall you do with his garment, and so shall you do with every lost thing of your brother's which he has lost. And if you have found it, you may not hide yourself. You shall not see your brother's donkey or his ox fallen down by the way, and hide yourself from them. You shall surely help him to lift them up again. A woman shall not wear men's clothing, neither shall a man put on woman's clothing, for whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. If a bird's nest chance to be before you in the way in any tree, or on the ground, with young ones or eggs, and the hen sitting on the young or on the eggs, you shall not take the hen with the young. You shall surely let the hen go. But the young you may take to yourself, that it may be well with you, and that you may prolong your days. When you build a new house, then you shall make a battlement for your roof, that you don't bring blood on your house, if any man fall from there. You shall not sow your vineyard with two kinds of seed, lest the whole fruit be forfeited, the seed which you have sown in the increase of the vineyard. You shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together. You shall not wear a mixed stuff, wool and linen together. You shall make you fringes on the four borders of your cloak, with which you cover yourself. If any man take a wife and go into her, and hate her, and lay shameful things to her charge, and bring up an evil name on her, and say, I took this woman, and when I came near to her, I didn't find in her the tokens of virginity, then shall the father of the young lady and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the young lady's virginity to the elders of the city in the gate. And the young lady's father shall tell the elders, I gave my daughter to this man as wife, and he hates her. And behold, he has laid shameful things to her charge, saying, I didn't find in your daughter the tokens of virginity. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. They shall spread the garment before the elders of the city. The elders of that city shall take the man and chastise him, and they shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, and give them to the father of the young lady, because he has brought up an evil name on a virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife. He may not put her away all his days. But if this thing be true, that the tokens of her virginity were not found in the young lady, then they shall bring out the young lady to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her to death with stones, because she has done folly in Israel, to play the prostitute in her father's house. So shall you put away the evil from the midst of you. If a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall both of them die, the man who lay with the woman, and the woman. So shall you put away the evil from Israel. If there be a young lady who is a virgin pledged to be married to a husband, and a man find her in the city and lie with her, then you shall bring them both out to the gate of that city, and you shall stone them to death with stones, the lady because she didn't cry out, being in the city, and the man because he has humbled his neighbor's wife. So you shall put away the evil from the midst of you. But if the man finds the lady who is pledged to be married in the field, and the man forces her, and lies with her, then the man only who lays with her shall die. But to the lady you shall do nothing. There is in the lady no sin worthy of death. For as when a man rises against his neighbor and kills him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, the pledged to be married lady cried, and there was none to save her. If a man finds a lady who is a virgin, who is not pledged to be married, and lays hold on her and lies with her, and they be found, then the man who lays with her shall give to the lady's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, and shall not uncover his father's skirt. Now after these things, the Lord also appointed 70 others, and sent them 2 by 2 ahead of him into every city and place where he was about to come. Then he said to them, The harvest is indeed plentiful, but the laborers are few. Pray therefore to the Lord of the harvest, that he may send out laborers into his harvest. Go your ways.
Behold, I send you out as lambs among wolves. Carry no purse, nor wallet, nor sandals. Greet no one on the way. Into whatever house you enter, first say, Peace be to this house. If a son of peace is there, your peace will rest on him, but if not, it will return to you. Remain in that same house, eating and drinking the things they give, for the laborer is worthy of his wages. Don't go from house to house. Into whatever city you enter, and they receive you, eat the things that are set before you. Heal the sick who are therein, and tell them, the kingdom of God has come near to you. But into whatever city you enter, and they don't receive you, go out into the streets of it and say, Even the dust from your city that clings to us, we wipe off against you. Nevertheless, know this, that the kingdom of God has come near to you. I tell you, it will be more tolerable in that day for Sodom than for that city. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works had been done in Tyre and Sidon which were done in you, they would have repented long ago, sitting in sackcloth and ashes. But it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon in the judgment than for you. You, Capernaum, who are exalted to heaven, will be brought down to Hades. Whoever listens to you, listens to me, and whoever rejects you, rejects me. Whoever rejects me, rejects him who sent me. The 70 returned with joy, saying, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. He said to them, I saw Satan having fallen like lightning from heaven. Behold, I give you authority to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy. Nothing will in any way hurt you. Nevertheless, don't rejoice in this, that the spirits are subject to you, but rejoice that your names are written in heaven. In that same hour Jesus rejoiced in the Holy Spirit and said, I thank you, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and understanding, and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father, for so it was well-pleasing in your sight. Turning to the disciples, he said, All things have been delivered to me by my Father. No one knows who the Son is except the Father, and who the Father is except the Son, and he to whomever the Son desires to reveal him. Turning to the disciples, he said privately, Blessed are the eyes which see the things that you see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings desired to see the things which you see, and didn't see them, and to hear the things which you hear, and didn't hear them. Behold, a certain lawyer stood up and tested him, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said to him, What is written in the law? How do you read it? He answered, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. He said to him, You have answered correctly. Do this, and you will live. But he, desiring to justify himself, asked Jesus, Who is my neighbor? Jesus answered, A certain man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who both stripped him and beat him, and departed, leaving him half dead. By chance a certain priest was going down that way. When he saw him, he passed by on the other side. In the same way a Levite also, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was. When he saw him, he was moved with compassion, came to him, and bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. He set him on his own animal, and brought him to an inn, and took care of him. On the next day, when he departed, he took out 2 denarii, and gave them to the host, and said to him, Take care of him. Whatever you spend beyond that, I will repay you when I return. Now which of these 3 do you think seemed to be a neighbor to him who fell among the robbers? He said, He who showed mercy on him. Then Jesus said to him, Go and do likewise. It happened as they went on their way, he entered into a certain village, and a certain woman named Martha received him into her house. She had a sister called Mary, who also sat at Jesus' feet and heard his word. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she came up to him and said, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Ask her therefore to help me. Jesus answered her, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is needed. Mary has chosen the good part, which will not be taken away from her. Psalm 73, a psalm by Asaph.
Surely God is good to Israel, to those who are pure in heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone, my steps had nearly slipped. For I was envious of the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. For there are no struggles in their death, but their strength is firm. They are free from burdens of men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride is like a chain around their neck, violence covers them like a garment. Their eyes bulge with fat, their minds pass the limits of conceit. They scoff and speak with malice, in arrogance they threaten oppression. They have set their mouth in the heavens, their tongue walks through the earth. Therefore their people return to them, and they drink up waters of abundance. They say, How does God know? Is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the wicked, being always at ease, they increase in riches. Surely in vain I have cleansed my heart, and washed my hands in innocence, for all day long have I been plagued, and punished every morning. If I had said, I will speak thus, behold, I would have betrayed the generation of your children. When I tried to understand this, it was too painful for me, until I entered God's sanctuary, and considered their latter end. Surely you set them in slippery places, you throw them down to destruction. How they are suddenly destroyed! They are completely swept away with terrors. As a dream when one wakes up, so, Lord, when you awake, you will despise their fantasies. For my soul was grieved, I was embittered in my heart. I was so senseless and ignorant, I was a brute beast before you. Nevertheless, I am continually with you. You have held my right hand. You will guide me with your counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. Who do I have in heaven? There is no one on earth who I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart fails, but God is the strength of my heart, and my portion forever. For behold, those who are far from you shall perish. You have destroyed all those who are unfaithful to you. But it is good for me to come close to God. I have made the Lord Yahweh my refuge, that I may tell of all your works.
Psalm 74. A contemplation by Asaph. God, why have you rejected us forever? Why does your anger smolder against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation which you purchased of old, which you have redeemed to be the tribe of your inheritance, Mount Zion in which you have lived. Lift up your feet to the perpetual ruins, all the evil that the enemy has done in the sanctuary. Your adversaries have roared in the midst of your assembly. They have set up their standards as signs. They behaved like men wielding axes, cutting through a thicket of trees. Now all its carved work they break down with hatchet and hammers. They have burned your sanctuary to the ground. They have profaned the dwelling place of your name. They said in their heart, We will crush them completely. They have burned up all the places in the land where God was worshipped. We see no miraculous signs. There is no longer any prophet. Neither is there among us anyone who knows how long. How long, God, shall the adversary reproach? Shall the enemy blaspheme your name forever? Why do you draw back your hand, even your right hand? Take it out of your pocket and consume them. Yet God is my King of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. You divided the sea by your strength. You broke the heads of the sea monsters in the waters. You broke the heads of Leviathan in pieces. You gave him as food to people and desert creatures. You opened up spring and stream. You dried up mighty rivers. The day is yours. The night is also yours. You have prepared the light and the sun. You have set all the boundaries of the earth. You have made summer and winter. Remember this, that the enemy has mocked you, Yahweh. Foolish people have blasphemed your name. Don't deliver the soul of your dove to wild beasts. Don't forget the life of your poor forever. Honor your covenant, for haunts of violence fill the dark places of the earth. Don't let the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise your name. Arise, God, plead your own cause. Remember how the foolish man mocks you all day. Don't forget the voice of your adversaries. The tumult of those who rise up against you ascends continually.
A righteous man regards the life of his animal, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. He who tills his land shall have plenty of bread, but he who chases fantasies is void of understanding.